Celebrating 25 years of joy and celebrating 25 years of media excellence. This is Joynews. My name is Philip Nanfuru, and this is the business edition of PM Express, brought to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. And on tonight's show, we're going to focus on certain key issues affecting the insurance sector. It's one of the sectors of one of the spheres of the financial services sector that's least discussed, and for obvious reasons. More often than not, we focus on the banking industry. Tonight, we want to take a dip into the insurance pool and see what exactly we can learn in there. The National Insurance Commission has brought or released a number of directives, regulations, all aimed at bolstering confidence and boosting growth in the insurance sector. We want to subject these regulations and these directives to some analysis and see if indeed it will achieve the desired purpose for which they have been put out. And to help me do all this is Edgar Wiridu. He's an insurance practitioner, but tonight he'll be known as an insurance marketer. So call it as you may. He's well versed in the insurance sector and a man to be revered by all. So on the list of items to discuss, we have the recently introduced motor insurance database. I'm sure you've heard about it, where the NIC says they want to digitize our insurance stickers. So now there's a central pool where all the data is collected. And if this QR scan your insurance sticker whatsoever, it pops up whether your vehicle is insured whatsoever. So that's one. We also want to look at an issue of what they call enhanced no claims discount or no claims discount. What exactly is this? I know some practitioners have discussed this behind the scenes. We want to tear it up and see what exactly it means. Then we also look at the issues of capping of certain benefits that come in insurance. So let's say you are involved in an accident, God forbid. How much is going to be given to you in case of death, to your dependents, for your funeral expenses? We'll subject that to some analysis also. And at this time, we'll delve into the minimum capital requirements that was announced last year. They have a deadline in June 2021, or most of the players in the insurance sector. So we're going to discuss that. Then the last one will be the no premium, no cover. Even though I've listed them in an order, as the show goes on, some may weave into others, and then we will have this discussion. But we'll start off with the motor insurance database, and Edgar is sitting right here. Edgar, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us on PM Express Business.
Nice one, brother.
So let me just start right off the bat. Most of these, let me call them regulations, directives, are supposed to boost growth in the insurance sector in the eyes of the Commission, the National Insurance Commission, the regulator. Currently, when I checked the NIC's 2018 annual report, I saw that we were doing, in terms of penetration, just around 1%. They gave a number of reasons here why we are at that level. They compared us to other countries, South Africa, etc. And one of the issues was poor public perception. Now, they also raised issues of people having fake motor insurance, undercutting and underpricing were words that were used a lot in this annual report. Let me start off with the motor insurance database. I just renewed my motor insurance policy. My insurance company gave me a new paper-like something.
Yeah.
When I stuck it on, I saw the reflection of the National Insurance Commission's logo in there.
Yeah.
There was a barcode to be scanned.
Exactly.
They want to cut out fake motor stickers, etc. In your estimation, the motor insurance database, do you think will have a positive impact on growth in the sector and checking what the NIC says are ills within the industry?
Well, let me say good evening to viewers and, of course, to you, my brother. Well, I think that the issue of the motor insurance database, in anything you do, you want to grow, you want to know where you are going and all that, you need a database. Data is very, very important, right? Without it, you cannot project, you cannot extrapolate, you may not even have your dimensions right and what have you. So it's good to have a database. But the problems I have with the database is that, you see, it's a little too narrow, too narrow. The reasons you assigned, you want to, how do you call it, get rid of fixed stickers, okay? You want to check to see whether There is what you said, what undercutting,
underpricing of premiums.
I think this should probably even be the list that you want to talk about. But then the issue of how do you call it, getting fixed tickets out of the system, perfect, you know. But I think if broader consultations were made, probably they would have found the need to include a lot more into the database, and that would have helped the industry to come out with serious analysis into the future, how to go forward, whether your premiums are adequate or not, and all that, right? For instance, we should be in the position to know the number of accidents that are recorded on daily basis. Everything must feed into the
database.
Into the database, right? Which classes of those risk, whether it is the private vehicles, whether it is the taxis, the articulators, what have you, you have to design, you get all that information, right? What kind of damage or danger does the petrol tankers pose on the road and all. Every accident must be recorded, you know. Then you are building a database. You get to see the troublesome ones and then the ones that are not all that troublesome. You want to know this. Number two, the quantum that is paid in terms of property damage, in terms of injuries, in terms of deaths. So all these things is giving you an idea, you see? And one of the funny things is that the law of large numbers play a lot in insurance. It gives you, say, for instance, on yearly basis, how many cars are coming into the system. Because the more the cars are, the more accidents and what have you. So with a comprehensive database, okay, you get to know this. You even have to liaise with or bring the driver unions. You know, you need to bring the driver unions together, getting to know the ages of the people who are driving the vehicles, right? How many people are making accidents in a year or so, their driving experiences, and that's even one of the problems that I have with the DVLA. You see, the previous driving license that they were issuing, right, indicated the time the driver acquired his first license. In this particular, these new ones that they are issuing has no information about that. So you don't even know how experienced the driver is, how long he's been on the road and all that. And these are all factors that contribute in determining or arriving at a premium that would make you say you are collecting commensurate premiums. You know, all this information is missing. So that's one, I think, deficiency that the current driver's license has, okay? But as I said, is a database that you're building. So every information, look, for instance, forget about motor. What about the other lines, right? If there's a fire outbreak, right, we need all those data, okay? Whether insured or not insured. So far as there's an outbreak of fire somewhere and it's reported, right? Or you liaise with the National Fire Service to give you information, data. It all helps in planning. You got it. You don't sit down and because it has not been insured, you don't care. No, because you need to look into the future and you need to come up with correct data, which when analyzed can help in policy formulation, how we should move on. You get it? So when you don't have information on all these things, it makes it difficult when you really want to introduce something into the system.
But let me raise a number of questions in your submissions. So the first one, you spoke about broader consultation.
Yeah.
Does it presuppose that the Commission didn't do a wide stakeholder engagement with regards to other groups? Because you've mentioned, I don't think anybody will be against the number of things you've mentioned being part of the database. But we have other institutions, I beg your pardon, such as the Ghana Police Service, we have the DAVLA, we have the National Road Safety Commission. All these are different institutions, which I would believe there will be some red tape in bringing all of them together to feed into this database. So wouldn't you argue that at least we've taken a step, and as time goes on, we can build these other metrics or parameters into the database?
It's very good you mentioned the Road Safety Commission, right? Because at the end of the day, all these days, because it's Road Safety Commission that comes with regulations relating to the road use and all that sort of thing. So all this information, you can then pass it on to Road Safety Commission and then say, based on X, Y, Z, we propose so. This is my data. I have this one. Okay? So it's very, and I'm saying that it's even, forget it, it's good for the industry itself. You get the industry itself. Because, for instance, there's a situation where a driver today has been involved in an accident. There's no information about that driver. Tomorrow he's driving another vehicle. Nobody knows that this guy is a careless driver or he's this or that.
Okay.
But when the accidents are reported, the driver's name is there. The driver's name is fed into the database. You get it? You come out with a situation that the next time such a person even approaches you for insurance, it immediately pops up. You get to see this is a bad hazard, you know. And these are the areas that you begin to look and see how you can, as it were, minimize some of these things.
Do you get a sense that the Commission will, all things being equal, factor these into the database as time goes on?
That is what I said, that if broader consultations were done, some of these proposals would have come up. You get it? And then you would have built that. And that's what I'm saying. I'm even going beyond motor.
Yeah.
And looking at other lines, fire. I'm looking at what, you know, for instance, you recall 2013, 2014, thereabout, or 15, I've forgotten. There was, how do you call it, a Nigerian aircraft that came to crash on our, on our soil. Yeah.
The one that skidded off the runway.
The one that went offshore to the, you know, where is the report? But I think that as insurers, we should be interested. You get it? We should be interested. Here's the situation that what's the name? Atomic fire, Atomic Junction, the gas station that explodes and all that sort of thing. It would be in the interest of the insurers to have information about that, the causes, what have you. It all helps in formulating, and you want to see how best you can avoid such situations. You get it? So those are the kind of terms and conditions you want to put under your policy. Whether it was insured or not, it doesn't matter. But make the efforts to get the report. You are building a database for tomorrow. You know, because we should be looking beyond today. Let's go about. So what is it going to look like? I asked myself the question that I was even talking about plan. I said, look, we are, let's say what people say, 30 million. If another 7 million comes to add to the figure, 37 million, how many cars are we expecting to be on the roads? Okay. Now, if you have another, maybe whatever number of vehicles on the road, what impact is it going to have on movements? What impact is it going to have so far as passengers, pedestrians, and all that? It gives you, and that's what I said, the law of large numbers helps in these things. So as you are growing by the day, right? So you are able to, you know, project, yes. Okay, and that is when you see that, look, okay, if we need to be making compensations and what have you, right? Our figures really up to it, not forgetting the fact that maybe because of, I understand, because of, what is it, the coronavirus, our dollar, our CD is gaining some, you know, but then if it's over and people begin to make a certain movement and then your CD begins to fall again, whether the quantums you are paying, right, it really is okay and appreciable and all that. All these things will help you to, you know, do that.
This brings me to a story I came across on Graphic Online, and it says insurance companies in the country are losing approximately 390 million of gross revenue annually to fraudsters that issue fake insurance stickers to unsuspecting vehicle owners. The Commissioner of Insurance at the National Insurance Commission, Mr. Justice Jawafori, has disclosed. He told the graphic business in an exclusive interview that the amount represented insurance premiums that should have been paid on about 1.2 million vehicles that were found to have been using fake insurance stickers. Mr. Jawafori said that amount was a substantial potential insurance premium that could have helped to improve the fortunes of the companies and the insurance industry in general. It goes on to say the DVLA reports that it registers about 2.2 million vehicles and issues about 1.6 million roadworthy certificates each year. However, the insurance industry sells only about 1 million motor stickers each year. So you see in there that, one, there's an issue of revenues, which, again, when I looked through this report, I saw that premium collection by most of the companies was a problem. And the NIC is linking it to the fact, it's also linking it to their ability to pay claims. So you don't have enough premium, you don't have enough investable funds or funds on hand, and it affects your premium, your claims payment, I beg your pardon. So this motor insurance database, one would argue, is a quick fix. Even though what you've argued is also important, we can stop some of these things with the motor insurance database, just from this story.
Well, I have a little difficulty with that story because the graphic online says an exclusive interview with the commissioner.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he says DVLA says they registered 2 million.
2.2 million vehicles and issues about 1.6 million roadworthy certificates each year. However, the insurance industry sells only about 1 million motor stickers each year.
No, I don't get the story. You see, let's use the words carefully here. When you say registered vehicles, are you suggesting that, or are you saying that in 2019, 2 million vehicles were registered? Yes. Is that the argument there?
Yes, it registers over 2.2 million vehicles. And issues about 1.6 million roadworthy certificates.
Okay, so then if 2.2 million vehicles were registered in 2019, then how many vehicles were existing before that? That is, so now we are talking about vehicles 2018 registration, 2017, 2016, 2015, up to A, right? Then how many vehicles do we really have on the road?
And I think it goes back to your point about the centrality.
You know, now you are asking yourself the question that if 1.6 million roadworthy certificates were issued, that is for 2019 registered vehicles. That's what did they use the word registered vehicles? Then what about the existing, those that were already there? So how many vehicles do we really have on the road? You get it?
I get it.
Yes. So I have a difficulty in understanding that story because it doesn't add up. Okay, because then if we are also saying that we issued only 1 million
motor stickers.
Motor stickers. No, then there's something wrong. The figures don't add up. Yeah, we need to get it clear. What's the real? If DVLA is to say that the whole of 2019 we issued 2 million stickers, not for registered vehicles but for all vehicles, then we can begin to get into some of these things. Because one of the things you should know is that the DVLA may register some vehicles, okay? Not all vehicles are insured.
Like the police vehicles.
Like the police vehicles, are they as part of those things, right? Some government agencies don't insure their vehicles. Are they part? You need to understand some of these dynamics well, and then you take them out. But when you create an impression, because first of all, you understand that there are some group of vehicles that do not go into that pool. Now, for instance, we have some of these national security vehicles, okay? National security vehicles, which are even sometimes not registered at the DVLA, but registered somewhere differently and what have you. Some too, they do register there. I mean,
there are different things that come to play.
Yes, you see, so that information, I have a problem. But the issue is this, that I think if the way the language is not, how do you call it, is not right. I mean, I don't think the way the language is captured, if I can read through the commissioner's mind, right, he's not saying the insurance companies lost 390 million, right? I think probably what he was trying to say is that
potential, perhaps.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, potential, but it's not that the insurance companies lost. Okay, there's a difference in saying insurance companies lost and saying that monies that should have come into the pool. There are two different words. Yes, you understand. So that these amounts of monies, if added to the pool, could enhance or would have been in the position to enhance the claims payments and things like that. So it is not like the insurance company lost, because I think one of the things I heard him speak on Joy one of those days, and his point of emphasis was that the motor compensation fund, which takes care of uninsured vehicles, hit and run, those unfortunate events, they are compensated from the and yes, he emphasized, I did hear him say that they do not want the fund to deplete, get depleted. So it's like, yes, monies that should have gone into the, how do you call it, the fund, right? It's very important that some of these things are, looked at, okay? So in a situation where those monies are not coming in, it affects, or should I say people will not get adequate compensation.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. Yeah.
This is the business edition of PM Express with me, Philip Nanfuri, my guest Edgar Wiredu. We are going through the importance of the motor insurance database and issues got to do with that nature. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back to deal with no claims discount and what it means. From the break, this is PM Express Business. My name is Philip Nanfuri, my guest Edgar Wiredu, insurance marketer practitioner. So, Edgar, before we went to the break, I was come to ask you, no claims discount, what exactly it means. But I was doing some light reading and I came across something. And I assumed that the no claims discount obviously means something that you were getting before in terms of discounts. You may not get it again. And I saw something very interesting, and it says, clients is from an article, National Insurance Commission phased out manual motor stickers. And it says, clients should brace themselves for a new regime of little or no discounts and tighter rating metrics. And I repeat it for my audience. Clients should brace themselves, insurance clients should brace themselves for a new regime of little or no discounts and tighter rating metrics. To the ordinary man, what is all this?
It's not a question of what is all this, but in practical terms, this thing has no basis.
Why?
You see, how do you call it? One of the important factors, you can call it a fundamental or cardinal, indicator in determining a premium in all lines of businesses is about claims history. Okay? If your claims history is good, you are supposed to get a premium that is considered reasonable. If your claims history is bad, then you are considered to be a high risk, and therefore your premium should be above something else. Okay. Now, the no claim discounts, the name speaks for itself. Because you have not made a claim, you earn a discount, and that discount is supposed to reduce the premium you are supposed to pay. As the years go by, you are not making claims, the discount builds to a level where we will say it is capped, maybe 50%. It is capped for, let's say, private vehicles. Okay, it's capped. Now, this discount is something that it's like very dear to the policyholder, all right? If I were to pay a premium of 30,000, because I've built that discount and reached that figure of 50%, all right, my premium is reduced automatically to that 15,000, all right? So I've saved, what, 15,000? And 15,000 is no small money to save on an insurance policy. So to the extent that you say you want to deny me that discount, it is not founded in any motor insurance principle. It's not founded anywhere, all over the world. Even people go outside the country, they want to purchase a car drive, they request for their claims document, insurance certificate. And then based on the, and you state in the document the number of years the person has driven a vehicle without an accident. Based on that document, wherever you are in, they also have their way of calculating their discounts, and that reduces your premium. And it's vice versa. Some also bring it from that place over here, okay? You cannot say that you want to deny the policyholder what is his right. And I myself, I think I have, problems with the way the practitioners actually apply this discount. And I think, we're not being fair to the insuring public. It's not fair at all. One of the things that was said is the fact that, they said vehicles that were bought in 2020 registrations are not going to get discounts. It doesn't make sense. Let me ask you, let me just give you something here. So Philip, how do you call it? Philip has been working with multimedia for maybe 7-8 years, all right? Now, as you gain employment, the nature of your job schedule was such that the company has to provide you with a personal vehicle to use for your day. They like the way you have chief executives having visa vehicles and stuff like that. Now, for the 8 years you have been driving this car without an accident, that is a good record of yours. You buy your car in 2020, and then now you are going to take an insurance, and then someone tells you that you are not entitled to a discount. When there is evidence that you have driven a vehicle for so many years without a discount. Come on, it doesn't make sense. All right? I say, for instance, let's look at an STC driver. STC driver has driven for 25, 30 years without an accident. He's going on pension, he takes his retirement benefits. He decides to buy a Toyota Hayes mini bus that you used to do some 1-2-1-2 running around. And you're saying that you are discounting. You don't want to recognize the 30 years driving experience of no claim. It doesn't make sense, right? You see, these things are very, very important in making insurance work. Because when you decide to do certain things that hasn't got any base, you put the insuring public off. You know, you just put them off. And as I said, what is the basis? Now you make a statement suggesting that there's something known as undercutting. What is undercutting?
If I can interrupt you and remember correctly, I remember there was a time where if you are paying insurance, you can pay it over a period of time. Then there came a time where they said no premium, no cover. I remember carefully, because the same undercutting.
You see, even that position was another bad position that was taken by the insurance industry. Okay, first of all, it is against the law. The law allows a 3-month period. Okay, and I don't see how you can throw a law away. This is a law.
In the Insurance Act.
It's in the Insurance Act. You get it? It allows 90 days. So you cannot just come up and say that I've cancelled it. It's only Parliament that can do that. You see? Now, by so doing, and so these are some of the things that if you look well, right, it's affecting penetration. Because if, for instance, I have a premium of 3,000 to pay, and I can pay 1,000 a month, right? You say, no, I should pay all the 3,000. You know what you've done? You have disturbed my discretionary income. And therefore, I cannot do any other thing. It means I shortchange certain things. So there are two things. I either forget about that 3,000 I have to pay and go for the cheapest cover, which is maybe 300. All right? And you can imagine a number of people. We have, in fact, it's a real case scenario. So many people have done it because they cannot get that upfront.
For the lump sum payment.
That's for lump sum payment. You see, so what happens is that if you want to get people into the pool, right, you have to strategically see a way that you can make, and you see, there's one thing that is also unfortunate. The Act requires something known as Code of Conduct. Unfortunately, for how many years now operating this Act, up to date, that Code of Conduct has not come. Now, the Code of Conduct is very important in the business we do. The Code of Conduct is like what we will call the golden rule. Okay, the golden rule. And what is the golden rule? Do unto others as you want others to do unto you, right? And as part of that, premium payments must be as fair as possible. Okay? And the commissioner has a duty to ensure that policyholders are well taken care of. You don't do things that puts them off. You see? That's one of the unfortunate things in Ghana. You know, our regulators do not really take good care of the ordinary man. Today you sit down, you have NCA. NCA doesn't care what the telcos are doing to our units. You are talking on the phone, the line is cutting. At times you're speaking, you may think that even your phone is faulty and all that. They are only interested in the monies that they are paying to them. come and pay this one, and they pay. But as to whether the customers are getting really satisfied, no. Bank of Ghana sits there and want to mess the whole economy up when you are supposed to protect the ordinary Ghanaian. You see, that is the only way confidence comes into the system, right? Now, if you're talking about these matters, it's very easy to build a good pool for the insurance industry. But you see, like in the marketing world, something that is very, very important is that P called price. You get it? That P called price. If the price is not attractive to the insurance public, at the end of the day, what happens?
Because I have a lot of people, after this was brought out, this no claims discount, a lot of people got in touch with us and were expressing their dissatisfaction. Some didn't understand it. Thank you for the clarity. Some too understood and felt like, no, this is not. And these were some of the people are even practitioners who don't want to be named because of the NIC whole issue. But thank you for the clarity on that. You mentioned something in your submission about cheaper options.
Yeah.
And I shared something with you, a third-party insurance certificate, and I wanted some explanation on there. I was reading something and I saw something about a cap 2019, and I would want to assume that there will be some caps on certain benefits in the insurance space.
Let me see what you're talking about.
Okay, so in here, you would identify this easily.
Okay.
So you see, and for my audience, I'm just showing Edgar a document. So for my viewers, I beg your pardon. I'm showing Edgar a document, a third-party insurance certificate. So when you go and pay your insurance, the document they give you that we don't read, I'm showing Edgar one. And in there, certain things have been captured.
No.
For example, TP injury, and I believe TP is third party.
Yes, that's right.
Third party injury, 50,000 per person. Third party death, limit subject to cap 2019 or 2019. I managed to get this document from somebody in the space. It gives us some light on the cap 2019. Edgar will help us break this down. I'm sure he has also seen it because he plays in this space. The medical expenses, 20,000 per person. Now, I see in here breakdown of death benefits. For example, I see funeral expenses, 9,720. Spouse benefit, 12,960. Dependents benefit, 9,720. Total, 32,400. Correct me if I'm wrong, Edgar. This will be what an individual will get if he or she is in a vehicle that is involved in an accident. Is that right or wrong?
First of all, you know, this is...
Go ahead.
This is supposed to be an insurance certificate issued from SIC, okay? It's bad.
Why?
There's no basis. There's no basis for this. I think, you see, I've even had discussions with people on this matter. And I think the commission probably does not understand the issue. Okay? There is a law that there is the Act says something in section, is it 44 or so? Yes. It says, section 44, right? It says, subject to subsection 2, a contract of insurance entered into by an insurer after the commencement date is void if it is a contract under which the insurer undertakes a liability, the amount of maximum amount of which is uncertain at the time when the contract is entered into. Now, subsection 2, it says regulations may prescribe contracts of insurance or classes of descriptions of contract of insurance that are exempt from subsection 1. Number 1 says that subject to subsection 2, which means subsection 2 would override section 1. Okay? Section 1 talks about a limit on insurance contracts. But subsection 2 overrides subsection 1 when you have, by regulations, made contracts of insurance that cannot be limited. All right? Now, subsection 3 says this section applies to motor insurance contracts despite anything to the contrary in the Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act 1958, number 42. What this law is trying to say is that in the Motor Insurance Third-Party Act of 1958, right, it makes settlement of claims on injuries and death unlimited. Okay, unlimited. It goes on further to say the Commission, in consultation with the insurance industry, shall by regulation prescribe a formula to compute the compensations in respect of injury and disease claims arising out of a motor accident.
Together with the insurance industry.
Yes. Will come out, you should come out with a formula. First of all, you should understand one thing. The Third Party Insurance Act makes it unlimited, right? But then that unlimited situation gives a certain kind of discretion, or as it were, to the insurer as to how much I want to pay you and what have you. This law is trying to say that no, considering the fact that in our constitution, anybody with a discretionary power needs an LI or a CI to exercise that law, that power that is given to you. So you cannot use it as you like. So what it's only trying to tell you is that come out with a formula to determine how much a deceased person would earn. That does not say go and put a limit on the thing.
So look in here. Death benefit, 10 times annual minimum wage. 2019 prevailing annual minimum wage is 3,240 Ghana cedis. One would argue that this is a formula.
This is not a formula. A formula, a formula is a method or a procedure applied in achieving something. This means that something is not known. Okay? A formula, if you want to get, it's just like simultaneous equation. I say x, y, this, that, minus x, this, that. Get the, you work that formula. You don't know the answer. So you work the formula to get the answer. You are doing logarithms, right? Log AB minus log this or log slash blah, 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 blah. What you then use the formula, work, and then you get the answer. But you see, number two, what you see, I'm even, you see, first of all, now, you are saying funeral expenses, spouse benefit, dependence benefit, then 32,000, and you are using minimum annual wage. Are you kidding? So a whole chief executive officer of some big time company, let's say the banks or what have you, who probably is earning about 70 to 80,000 a month, when he dies, you are going to use minimum wage of 3,000 to compute for him.
I see the defect you are highlighting.
I mean, is that what you're going to do? But now let me also tell you something here that you see, there are laws in this country relating to death, injuries, and what have you. And one of the laws that has been considered as one of the fantastic laws in this country, right, are things relating to the interstate succession law. This, your thing, cannot conflict interstate succession law. This is even if it were, this is a subordinate law. It cannot conflict a superior law. Now, even in the interstate succession law, the amount of money that is paid to a child is more than the money paid to a spouse. Okay, I think 9/16 or something, and then the other is 3/16. And then the interstate succession law makes provision for existing or the parents who are alive and all that. This thing is not even capturing it. You get it? He's not even capturing it. But let me say, fundamentally, this thing should not even exist because it seems like the interpretation of this act is wrong. The law says come out with a formula. You know something quite interesting? Just last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Supreme Court, there was a case, Kojo Appiah versus, what do you call it, Kwabena something. A similar case like this, When even the man was asking for 400,000 Ghana, the High Court gave him 20,000 Ghana. He said no. He wouldn't agree. And it was an accident, right? Accident where the man has lost his everything. He went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal said they'll give him 140,000. He said no. He's still asking for his 400,000. He went to the Supreme Court, and just 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court ruled on the matter. And the Supreme Court even amended his rate and gave him 632,000. The Supreme Court amended his rate and gave him 632,000. Just last 2 weeks. So, and you want to come out with this when existing laws. But I'm seeing something funny here. He says what?
Death benefits.
Death benefits to a minor. Funeral expenses 7,200. That's all.
290.
290. So it means that the parent of the minor will not get anything. Meanwhile, the interstate succession law even states what is due the parents. How can a subordinate law, because you know when you die, right, letters of administration and all those things come into play for people to make the claim on your behalf, right?
Yeah.
And all those things are stated in there. So if the claim is made, okay, and then you have a dependent, how much is supposed to go to the dependent when the quantum has arrived, right? How much has to go to the dependent? How much goes to the parent? How much goes to the, is it the customary law? But even then, good, that even raises another point. Common law exists here. Under this thing, common law exists here. Okay? So when you even pay somebody this amount of money, he will tell you he's not satisfied, and you go to court.
We are running down on time. So this presupposes that, again, correct me if I'm wrong, there was no consultation. Or was there consultation? Because if you are going by the law, it says together with the insurance industry, and the industry makes up people like you. Was there broad consultation?
Well, I would say there wasn't, because you see, this document that you have here, first of all, the law does not say so. The law does not say that put a limit on injury, and it says come out with a formula, because the current law of the 1958 is like a discretionary thing. And the Constitution, which is the main land law, tells you that if you have a discretionary power, come out with a formula. So it does not become like, I'm sitting in my office, and then when you come, I like your face, I'll give you 20,000. And somebody else comes, I'll give you this, and I give you that.
Okay.
A formula must come, and what you have here is what, because a formula does not give a figure. A formula, you work. And I'll tell you something that happened in this particular case. Now, one of the things that they used in determining the 632, the Supreme Court case, was that the guy is 39 years. Okay? So they calculated 21 years salary for him. Because they took it like he has 21 years to get to pension. Okay? So they calculated 21 years pension for him. They calculated he having 2 nurses to take care of him, 1,000 cedis a month or something. They did some calculation for the 21 years. They took into account some other damages and pain, and they arrived at that figure. And don't forget, that is the Supreme Court. And therefore, it is a precedent. It is a law that has come into being. You go and do this, that is even subordinate to the existing laws of this country, please. I don't know.
Quickly, as we wrap up, the way forward for this, we have a lot of issues on our plate. Wrap it up for me in 1 minute and 30 seconds because of time.
Oh, no, well basically, first of all, this matter, they should go back and sit and understand what the law is asking of them. They should go back and sit down. This is not what the law is asking of them. The law is not asking them to place limits on. Now, I say that there is something known as common law. Okay, let me just give you one funny example. Look, assuming STC bus, okay, the driver, STC bus driver, he is covered under workman's compensation. All right? If he were to be involved in an accident, like what happened the other day, 34 people died, under his workman's compensation claim, he will be collecting about 60,000. And then there's innocent person who is sitting somewhere, you're going to kill him, you give him this. Not forgetting the fact that even if the driver can prove negligence on the part of STC management, he can sue them under common law and get more money. And then the innocent person who is sitting there, you say you are giving what, 7,000, what, 7,000 something.
7,290.
Nah.
So
they got to go back. They got to go back.
In a sentence, issues are lots. Wrap up for me. Time is up.
Oh, as I said, the database is good, but they should expand the scope so that it will help in tomorrow's whatever it is like. I mean, that one, no two ways about it. This no claim discount issue, they should drop it.
Readdressed again.
They should drop it. It doesn't make sense. We should rather make insurance interesting and lively for people. This matter, throw it away, go back to the drawing table, understand what the law means and sense, and then do it again.
Edgar Weredu speaking here. This is PM Express Business Edition. My name is Philip Nanfuru. I hope you have been educated as I have. Do have a good night.